currently in the 7th set of Lorcana, with the 8th set not that far away. But I wonder, is it possible to make a competent Mickey and Friends deck with the cards we have so far? Well, let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another video. I'm TheXploder and I like creating wacky, crazy decks for the world of Lorcana. Who cares if they're meta-relevant? They're fun. Is that a problem? So today I've been set a challenge, not directly, but I've taken it as a challenge to create a Mickey and Friends deck in the game of Lorcana using the cards we have so far all the way up to Arcasia's Island. This challenge was given to me by Vincent over on my TikTok channel, and if you want to join me over on TikTok where you get a lot more unique content and some other short form content as well, you can check the link to that over in the description below. And so, instead of just doing a short form video, showing a list and going crazy like that, I had originally planned to do an entire video where we go step by step creating the deck from scratch, where you see my authentic thought processes, what I add, what I take out, my reasons for doing so, and all that jazz. But sadly, I lost the footage. I know. Oh, how irresponsible of me. And I can only apologize to you guys and apologize to Vincent. But I have made the deck is there, so this is going to be more of a deck profile video, but for other challenges like this in the future, I will be doing it as we go along, like I just explained. So I apologize if this is not the kind of video that you wanted, but if you want yourself a Mickey and Friends deck list, let's get into it. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, I give you my Mickey and Friends list that I like to call Mickey and Friends on the high seas, because I've gone with Emerald and Ruby to create a pirate-based Mickey and Friends deck. There were many ways I could have taken it. I was contemplating going with Steel at one point, but having a look at all the colours that I had at my disposal, I wanted to challenge myself with a colour combination that is a little bit more difficult to play with anyway, or a little bit more difficult to build, and I think I found something that is quirky. And I love a little bit of quirky. If you want this deck list for yourself, there will be a link in the description below, and if you don't see a link in the description, head on over to my Discord server where you can check out this deck and any other deck that I have built over time, where you can see all the lists, as well as a place where you can post up your decks, and we can help each other out and build them and make them anew and all that fun jazz. So let's dive in to Emerald Ruby, Mickey and Friends on the High Seas. Starting off, we've got 2 copies of the 1-drop Clarabelle. Very nice and simple. We're mostly using her in order to get into the Shift Clarabelle a little bit later on. But she's also very handy. If you've got a little bit of excess ink spare, you can banish a cheeky item that your opponent is taking advantage of. It's very handy. We're also running with 4 copies of Pete, the Pirate Scoundrel, because he counts as a pirate, he counts as a Mickey and Friends character, and again, if we play an action that isn't a song, we can also get rid of some pesky items. So Pete and Clarabelle combined together can give us a little sense of control, which is quite interesting. We're also going to run 2 copies of the Phantom Blot. And I know some people will think, why the heck are we running the Phantom Blot? He is a 3/1 rush character, which his whole purpose in this deck is to be played, rush into something, bop him, get him out of the way, so you can just keep going. When you need him, he is there. There's only 2 copies of him, so you don't need to worry about it too much. But it also gave me reason to run the Phantom Blood. I love it. But we are running 4 copies of Wendy Darling, Courageous Captain, a 2-cost uninkable 1/2 for 1 lore with evasive, and while you have another pirate character in play, this character gets +1 attack and +1 lore. She also has evasive on herself and counts as both a pirate and a captain, which is very, very cool indeed. So bearing this in mind, if on turn 1 we played out Pete, turn 2 we played out Wendy, Wendy comes into play as a 2/2 for 2. with evasive, which is really nice as well, because if you need to get rid of any pesky evasives but only have one attack on them, this Wendy can do it. She could be a threat in the air that your opponent has to actively deal with and spend resources to get rid of. She is a very viable card to put into this deck and a really quirky choice I've been interested in playing with in general. We're also running with 4 copies of the free drop Donald Duck first mate. He counts as a pirate, and while you have a captain character in play, this character gets +2 lore. So again, if we're on curve, Pete turn 1, Wendy turn 2, Donald turn 3, now Donald can quest for free lore. That's mental. All of a sudden you got a little bit of aggro play, putting more pressure onto your opponent. So if you're on curve and they're not, they're going to be looking at you and they're going to start sweating. This Donald puts in work. I like it. We've also got 4 copies of the Minnie Mouse Pirate Lookout. She counts as a pirate, as you can imagine, but her effect is, once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may return a location card from your discard to your hand. This is why we have a bunch of locations to play with, because we want to be able to keep them out, keep up the aggro pressure, or bring out another location that can benefit our characters in some way. And Minnie just keeps that engine alive, and because she counts as a pirate, combine her with Wendy Darling again, and Wendy can keep questing for 2. Absolutely fine. We're going to have 4 copies of the Pete Freebooter, who's just a vanilla free cost 5/2 for 1. You may wonder why this Pete is in here. Counts as a Mickey and Friends card. He has a big face on him, which means he'll be able to bop into quite a lot of stuff. I mean, 5 damage is nothing to sneeze at. And there's going to be a way, but we're going to be able to give him Rush, so later on in the game, this Pete effectively becomes your superior Phantom Blot. We'll be going into that later on when we cover the locations, but if you know your cards, you pretty much know what I'm talking about right now. We're also running 4 copies of Daisy Duck Pirate Captain. 4 cost inkable, 3/3 for 2 lore, and whenever one of your pirate characters quests at a location, you draw a card. It's very requirement heavy, so you need a pirate and a location to be at that location, I should say, in order to make this work. But you're going to be able to make that work a lot more than you may think. And on top of that, you've got to remember, Daisy triggers it herself because she herself counts as a pirate. So even if you've only got Daisy out and a location out, move Daisy to the location, quest for 2, get a card. Nice and easy. Again, she counts as both a pirate and a captain, so it helps with Donald, it helps with Wendy Darling, it helps with your whole engine. It's a brilliant card to help, and in a deck color combination that doesn't have a lot of card draw options, this definitely helps. We're also running 4 copies of Super Goof, the 4 cost inkable 2/4 for 1 lore with Rush, and whenever this character challenges another character, you gain 2 lore. It's not like Calhoun where you need to banish them, you just declare the attack, you gain 2 lore. Again, keeping up that little bit of aggro pressure. So even if you don't see the Daisy for card draw, you can play out the Goofy, attack into something, gain 2 lore off of the attack, and still keep questing with your Donald Duck, Wendy and Pete to keep building up that aggro pressure. Of course, if they're still on the board at this point, you are definitely setting up aggro for your opponents to deal with, so you've got to bear that in mind, but a very useful card that can also by himself be a game ender. We're also running 4 copies of the brand new Mickey Mouse Pirate Captain. He is a 5 cost 4/4 for 2 lore. With the effect, whenever this character quests, chosen pirate character gets +2 attack and gains this character takes no damage from challenges this turn. All of a sudden, this Pete turns into a 7/2 that can't take damage. That's kind of nuts. And you can basically put that on any of your pirates if you need to get rid of anything. Heck, put it on Wendy Darling, and Mickey counts as a pirate, so Wendy's already a 2/2. Mickey gives her another 2, turns her into 4/2 with evasive that takes no damage this turn, which is really, really nice. This Mickey helps doing plays, and I know a couple of you will probably think, well, the Mickey's great, but he's a shift 3, why couldn't you find a decent shift target? In this colour scheme, there weren't a lot. There were 2 free drop Mickeys. One of them was Vanilla and Emerald, which is Steamboat, and there was the Ruby Mickey, where he gains attack when he's at a location, but they were a little bit too expensive, and as you can tell from the free cost stuff that we have in the deck, that spot in the deck is a very tightly contended spot, and I'd rather have things in there that will work straight away, rather than have something that only gets good if you do an additional thing on top. Turn 3 is our major I'm making a statement play. Turn 5, this is a let's shove it into top gear level of play. And the last character we're running in the deck is 3 copies of Clarabelle, Light on her hooves. Doesn't count as a pirate, doesn't count as a captain, but she can help you get your card draw back if you are low on card draw. She doesn't even need to crest if you don't need to. Just remember, at the end of your turn, if you have less cards than your opponent, you can draw cards until you match the exact same number. It's a threat on the board that your opponent has to deal with. She quests for 2, so she can be a game ender or a game continuance if you so need her. And she just helps. She helps in card draw, which is the glaring issue in this deck. But she's also really good, and a Mickey and Friends character, which counts. With the characters done, let's then go on to our actions. Don't have a lot of regular actions, but we do have 3 copies of Improvise, which gives 1 attack and a card draw. So this can help on anything from Phantom Blot, your Peats, your anything. Basically, if you need to bop into anything, or if you just need to draw a card, use Improvise. Simple as. And we've also got 3 copies of Brawl. Because you're in Ruby, you get a little bit more control from what you can get from this color scheme. Brawl is still viable, not the most important removal known to mankind, because you can only get rid of things with 2 attack or less. But if your opponent is running like aggro or hyper aggro with a lot of low attack characters, this can at least help you control the board while you're getting some other stuff out. Song-wise, we're not playing a lot of songs either, but we're running 3 copies of Heffalumps and Woozles to control the board a little bit, and again, give you some additional card draw to help with just your combo plays in general, and 2 copies of Be Prepared. You're running Ruby. Why not get the ultimate removal card? And quite frankly, if you're behind, or if you're questing big, and you can potentially be prepared and then shove out another character ready to go for next turn to threaten for game, or if you've got out a couple of your locations that just get passive lore, you can then be prepared the board and your opponent has to get rid of that location, or else beginning of your next turn you just win. This card helps every time. Just use it. And speaking of locations, let's get straight into it. We're running 10 different locations, starting with 3 copies of Deville Manor, Cruella's Estate. Very simple, very easy, 1-drop location that gives you a passive 1 lore. For 4 willpower, some people may say it's a little bit too low for them, but for a 1-drop location that you can just play on turn 1, just to help you with that little bit of aggro play, it's brilliant. And like I said, combine it with Be Prepared, suddenly your opponent has to get rid of Deville Manor on their next turn, or you win. We're also running 2 copies of the Hidden Cove. I love Hidden Cove. It's one of my favorite Emerald locations. Characters that are there get +1 attack and +1 willpower, so it strengthens everybody, it keeps everyone alive. Again, combined with something like Wendy Darling when you have another pirate out, then Wendy can effectively become a free quest for 2 with evasive, which by itself, mental. But the main location of the deck is 3 copies of Jolly Roger, Hook's ship. If you're running pirates in this color combination or any color combination, and you have the majority of pirates in your deck, please, if you're running with Ruby, use this location, because it's a 1-drop location. It may say that you need 2 to enter it, but read the effect. Characters gain rush while they're here, which is the main thing we want to use, and your pirate characters may move here for free. So, remember what I said earlier about Pete? Now, you play Pete on turn 3 when you have Jolly Roger out. He's a 5/2. He's a big boy. Suddenly, he can move into the Jolly Roger for free, and he turns into a 5/2 with rush. You ever wanted an almost equivalent Maui for your pirate deck? This is one way to make it happen. It's not as good as Maui, do not get me wrong, but in a deck where I had a challenge themed around Mickey and Friends, this is the best we can get. And effectively, this combines with any pirate you're running in your deck as well, which is the majority of our deck. So Jolly Roger's a no-brainer, brilliant location. And the last location we are running are 2 copies of Skull Rock, which has these effects. It's 1 to move to, 6 willpower, which is a very decent amount of willpower to have as a 2-drop location. And it has characters get +1 attack while they're here. So again, you can just move a character that's already lived a turn with Jolly Roger, move them here afterwards. They have a +1 attack on them, so they can bop harder. And at the start of your turn, if you have a pirate character here, gain 1 lore. So you can just park a pirate character here. They gain 1 every turn. Casual, laid back, doesn't even need to swing or attack or anything. You can just sit back, relax, let your pirate chill up the Skull Rock and just go, yours. I win next turn unless you get rid of a character. Simple as that. So the deck is quirky, the deck is fun, and the deck features Mickey and friends in a way that I don't think Vincent was necessarily thinking of, but it's a fun-filled piratey time I highly recommend. Like I said earlier on in the video, if you want to check out this deck for yourself, there should be a link in the description below, but if I somehow forget about it, don't you worry. Head on over to my Discord server, join the community today, and there is a dedicated section with all my Lorcana decks where you can also share your ideas as well. So with that in mind, what do you think about my Mickey and Friends on the High Seas deck? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think I'm a filthy swashbuckler that deserves to walk the plank? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and whilst you're down there, consider opening up the description, have a look at all my socials so you can follow me on all my other pages so you don't have to miss out on any of the Lorcana based banter, and also consider subscribing, liking, sharing with your other Lorcana buddies, and getting in on all of that swashbuckling action. And here's the thing, I now want to turn this into a regular occurrence where I get challenged to make a deck. So if you want to challenge me to make a Lorcana deck, put it down in the description below. The only requirement that I ask is that it is a deck that can legally be used in casual, competitive, local, and potentially meta tournament formats, so that I'm basically able to make a deck that you can legitimately play wherever you go, and it's not a deck you can only play when it's you and your friends and you don't give a damn about the rules. It's the only requirement I have. But you can send those deck ideas to me in the description below, on my Blue Sky, on my Discord, basically any way you want. Challenge me. Until next time, when I'm challenged to make yet another deck, or I post another video in general, I will be seeing you in the next video. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, but most importantly, stay explosive, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Wonder what it must be like to be on the high seas. Kind of want to get on a cruise at some point and be like, yo ho, yo jolly, yo ho, hey!